Few things sting more than a beloved TV show getting axed before its time. While it might seem like a recent phenomenon, where streamers will unceremoniously cancel a show shortly after its release if it does not perform the way they expect. But this has been going on for many years before that, with plenty of sitcoms not knowing if they'll receive another season. The Office and Parks and Recreation both lived in a bubble for their first few seasons, before finding their footing and a core audience of devoted fans. They both managed to last for many, many seasons, but other shows have not been that lucky. Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, Glow, and Mork and Mindy all set up a mystery to be resolved in a subsequent season, but none of them ended up getting picked up and were cancelled too soon. It may seem like a clever bargaining tactic, ensuring audiences are gripped and want to tune in again. It also puts pressure on networks who may want to avoid disappointing the viewers they have, but the gamble does not always pay off. 5. Moesha, 1996 to 2001. Cancelled after 6 seasons. The show starred R&B royalty, Brandy, and focused on the coming-of-age story of the young teen, as she navigates all the twists and turns of life. It also starred Cheryl Lee Ralph, and featured guest appearances from many recognizable names, like Bernie Mac, Monique, and Usher. In true sitcom style, each week brought in a new hilarious challenge and taught the characters and viewers a helpful life lesson, famous for its catchy opening credit sequence and featuring breakout performances from Shah Jackson and Countess Vaughn. It was a big success for the network and ran for 127 episodes. Season 6 was its last, but clearly this was not expected. The last episode of Moesha featured a few major cliffhangers. A character got kidnapped, another was potentially pregnant, and Moesha's future was left uncertain as she contemplated whether she'd move in with her boyfriend or best friend. Viewers hoped that the spin-off show, The Parkers, would address any of these burning questions, but alas, it's still unknown. With the show seeing a resurgence on streaming platforms, it is possible a reboot, or at least a one-off special might happen that could offer some closure after all these years. 4. Santa Clarita Diet, 2017 to 2019. Cancelled after 3 seasons. This quirky zombie show mixed gore and comedy with a fun family dynamic. The first episode perfectly encapsulates the tone that the show would have, juxtaposing the idyllic and serene setting with a lot of very unsettling and violent scenes. Drew Barrymore showcased her innate charm, which made her flesh-eating desires more forgivable, and Timothy Olyphant was wonderfully supportive in his role as her distressed but capable husband. The show had a devoted fan base on Netflix, but, unfortunately, it did not get picked up for Season 4. What was most disappointing is because of the very intriguing setup that happened at the end of the 3rd season. After a string of tumultuous events, the finale sees the couple reconcile and, just as that happens, Joel gets attacked by a zombie spider, which could very much be the end of him. As Sheila bites him in order to save his life by turning him into a zombie also, the camera fades away and viewers never found out what happened next. It would have been interesting to see them navigate their new normal and see what other adventures it could potentially bring. 3. The Last Man on Earth, 2015 to 2018. Cancelled after 4 seasons. The beauty of the show lies in its unpredictability, which, in some way, makes the cliffhanger ending fitting. Despite the title, Will Forte isn't in fact alone on Earth. Instead, over the show's 4 seasons, he runs into more and more characters, some of whom even stick around, known to feature many of his collaborators from Saturday Night Live, as well as a host of very well-known actors. The show mixed comedy with some lofty themes like loneliness, and the fear of death, and the great unknown. By the time the last season rolled around, the show had its very own ups and downs. Though a critical success, the viewership wasn't always reaching the desired levels, so, despite a big reveal in the last episode, the story was to ultimately end there, with the core group finding a semblance of peace and harmony in their current situation. A new group of survivors arrives to disrupt it. This development could easily have lasted many more seasons, as the options for conflict reached a new high. Will Forte has given interviews about where he wanted the show to go, but it seems none of it will come to pass. 2. How I Met Your Father, 2022 to 2023. Cancelled after 2 seasons. A spin-off of the very popular, multi-season spanning How I Met Your Mother, this sitcom seemingly had a lot going for it. The cast included big names like Hilary Duff and Kim Cattrall. It had unlimited potential for cameos and in-universe crossovers, but for some reason, was not able to recreate the magic of the original. It could also be that viewers were so scarred by the disappointing finale that seemed to shut down years of character development, that they just did not tune in the first place. The ratings could never match its predecessor, but the show certainly had potential. The concept of reversing the main protagonist's genders, while not the most original, made sense as a continuation, and allowed for a similar mystery to be established straight off the gate.